everybody. Welcome back to the Houston Bound Podcast, your ultimate guide to moving to the heart of Texas. I am Chase Taylor, your host, and this is my co-host, Mandy Poff.
Hello, everyone.
And we have a special guest today. His name is David Frey, and we're going to learn all about who he is.
Nice. Okay. Well, I can't wait to share who David Frey is with you all. He is the president of High Meadow Development, and he is a third-generation land developer in the Northwest Houston area. And we are so excited to have you.
Privileged to be here. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, you're so welcome. We have been working with David on a few little projects, and we can't wait to share all of the news and all of the growth that he is creating with his company in our area.
Let's dive right on in. I'm going to kick us off here. Can you share a little bit about the history of High Meadow Development and how it all began?
Sure. It's fun to talk about this part. My grandfather in the 70s was fairly successful in Houston and just was looking for other opportunities, I guess, and so moved to Tomball, took his 4 boys, and said, hey, we want to have some land. And he was an animal husbandry major at Texas A&M. So had been around cattle and ag and all that, and so he's kind of wanted to do it himself. And so moved to Tomball, bought 100 acres, and realized pretty quickly, hey, this is really great. My boys have a place to play, schools are great, churches are good, community's awesome. How do I get my friends to come out here too? Mm-hmm. And so he I think that's what really spawned the development company. High Meadow Development hadn't started yet. Technically, High Meadow Development was formed off of the name High Meadow Ranch, which was my grandfather's, I'd say, pinnacle development. But he started in Tomball in 2920 in the 70s, built Rosewood Hill, Holly Creek, Holly Lakes, New Kentucky, and then moved on to Timber Green in kind of Pinehurst area. Oh. So all traffic was going west. Now it's back to Tomball going west on 2920. But in the late 80s, early 90s, there was nothing selling out there, so they went north towards Woodlands and Magnolia, did Timber Green, and then eventually High Meadow Ranch. And so that's kind of the history. My dad, in High Meadow Ranch and throughout the whole time Jack was developing, his boys worked with him. So after High Meadow Ranch, the other boys retired, or my uncles, not... Mm-hmm. They were Jack's boys, but my uncles all retired, and my dad continued with High Meadow Estates.
So for our listeners, I think that they should know briefly before we get into all of the questions, David, like I had mentioned, is third-generation land developer. His entire family has started and run this company, and it has all been in-house his entire existence and the company's entire existence. So when he mentions the boys or things, his uncles, it's very exciting to see such a close-knit environment that has turned business. And I don't know about y'all, but that's kind of one of my goals, is like your grandfather's goal, is I would love to just have some land and all of my friends and family move on to it.
It's perfect. It's a dream, really.
Yeah. That's really what I think. If you talk to my Uncle David, I'm named after him. He's one of the brothers. He'll tell you, we build neighborhoods we want to live in. And mm-hmm. that's true. That wasn't necessarily the motto that started it all, but we definitely build communities and neighborhoods we want to live in. At one point, all of our family, all the Jack Frey family lived in High Meadow Ranch. All of our cousins, everybody, we were all there together. Yeah.
I know.
So literally lived together, worked together, played together. We homeschooled. It was a lot of fun. We kind of lived in a little...
Like a bubble.
Bit of a bubble.
Yes.
But it was a really special time.
I love that. That kind of goes back to where people just want to create their own existence. And your family has found a way to monetize that, but then also share it with the world. Because now you've given the opportunity for so many other homeowners to live this dream mm-hmm. and build and do the things. So how exciting. Sorry, I didn't mean to derail us. I just wanted to give a little bit of the family history. Now, we know that you are an extremely successful company when it comes to land development. You have multiple developments under your belt. You continue to impress the world as you secure more land and continue to develop. But talk to me about the earned awards or milestones that you've actually been recognized for, because I know there's so many.
And
be humble.
I don't know if there's that many. That's a good question. So, we didn't talk about this real briefly though. Allie and I, my wife, bought the company from my family in 23. Mm-hmm. So since then we've received one award I'm very proud of, and that was Community of the Year for High Meadow Estates.
Wonderful.
And I really even have a hard time taking any credit for that, because that was a neighborhood my dad started. I finished it. But at the same, in that heart, the neighborhood, the community, the board, the residents, they have just as much of the award as we do. That neighborhood, and all of our developments take years, but that neighborhood was about 10 years from start to finish. Mm-hmm. And actually longer than that, closer to 15 years. And the residents in there were a big part of what the community is today. So super proud of that award. It was amazing to receive that, but I don't really take credit for it. Mm-hmm. I think the community, and then obviously my dad and grandfather had their hands in that one too.
I think you have to take some credit though, because while yes, the homeowners are maintaining the pride and ownership, the developer is maintaining the development standards. Mm-hmm. And that is one thing that I have seen you and Allie do so well throughout our time knowing each other, is the standard of build, the standard of quality. It's unmatched.
Right.
I've had the opportunity to see several of your subdivisions and watch them grow. And it's amazing. It's amazing to see how you two stand behind every single builder that comes in and the scrutiny that they may or may not, go through to make sure that they meet the quality of build that needs to be the end product.
Thank you for saying that. I appreciate it. We have great relationships with our builders, and we love the builders we work with. I'll say that we haven't necessarily hand selected all of them, but the builders we have are great. And the builders that come to us and go, I can build anything, are not the guys we want. Mm-hmm. We want the guys that are going, no, I build in this sector, and I'm customer service focused and value focused, not cheap, mm-hmm. but value focused for my customer, which is very much in line with what we do. So it means a lot that we have great builders that work with us. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And not jumping, to our viewers and our listeners, we have a list of questions. There's just so much conversation to be had in between this. That is one thing that David and Allie really bring to every one of their developments, is the customer service satisfaction. Right. Can you just talk to us really quickly, and then we'll jump back into our agenda, about how you and Allie are able to make sure that this company stays afloat by word of mouth?
Well, we have residents that have been with us since the beginning. And I say us, not me, but my grandfather and family and all that.
Right.
That will tell all their friends about us without a request. And mm-hmm. We show up to a real estate event, and one of our residents, Ricky, will be over there selling us. And my joke is always, I go up to the group and say that I actually pay him to do this, but we don't. He was one of our first residents in High Meadow Ranch, mm-hmm. and just loves our company. But, I think our focus on, it's hard to say, I'll try my best to describe this, but there's always a monetary aspect in everything we do. We have to make money. We have to provide for our families. We have to return investment dollars to partners. You have to pay interest on banks. All that stuff is relevant. But it's not, and it's not to say other developers are bad in this, or that they don't care about the customer. I believe they do. But our monetary return is not our primary focus. It's going to be the community aspect. It's going to be the customer service. And then that has to be there. It doesn't work if we don't have the monetary aspect, but it's not our primary goal. And I think that's proved to serve us really well. Mm-hmm. We often will, a great joke, and I shouldn't say this on a podcast, but we've returned earnest money the day of closing. We've always kind of said, hey, we're not here to hard sell you or to make you buy something. Like, if you don't really want to buy in our neighborhood, we don't want you to buy here. Mm-hmm. And so we had a gentleman that had actually canceled his contract twice. One was like 2 weeks before closing, and then one was the day of. And then about 2 years later, he came back and bought a lot from us. And we love that guy. He's paid a whole lot more 2 years later when he bought the lot, mm-hmm. right? So, it worked out in both ways. But incredible experience with that guy. Built a long-term relationship with the customer. But yeah, it's never been the primary focus of, I think keeping the customer focus has helped a lot.
Yeah, and I think that you're being very modest when you say that. High Meadow Development has not done a lot of real marketing when it comes to selling their land and their developments. They really do work off of word of mouth. They have a small sales team that they work with. And other than that, it is the customers who have told their friends, family, cousins, and neighbors, you have to buy here. And they have successfully, for over 50 years, continued that reputation. And I think that that's something to be said. Yeah,
it's really amazing. Yeah. Well, let me change us up here for a second.
Thanks. Get us back on track.
Yeah, I'll get us back on track, guys. That's what I'm here for. The questions. I'm just kidding. Okay, so out of all the communities you have developed over, even prior to you guys taking full ownership, do you have a favorite?
I'm a little biased with High Meadow Ranch because I lived in that one. I grew up I moved there when I was like 13 and lived there or my parents lived there through college. So I love coming back to High Meadow, and I guess we all call High Meadow Ranch High Meadow, the OG. But the golf course is there too. So there's just a lot of other amenities that some of our other communities don't have. But my favorite, I'll answer it two ways. I think my favorite community is High Meadow Ranch for a lot of reasons, not just golf course, but size and just the legacy of that neighborhood, kind of what it meant to our family. But Cedars is my favorite land. All
right, just for a little clarification, where are the neighborhoods located? Because we do have some out-of-state listeners that might want to know.
Yeah, we kind of touched a little bit on it, but I didn't describe it all. So Tomball is where we started. I mentioned that. And 2920 is kind of the east-west through Tomball. Right. And then you have 249 that runs north-south. And so along 249 is where Timber Green started. And then you've got High Meadow Ranch, which is technically not 249, but it's that same corridor. And then now we're High Meadow West, which is further up 249. So we're and then the Cedars in Plantersville. So Tomball, Magnolia, and then Plantersville, and then New Waverly.
Now we have New Waverly. More on that later.
Yep, more on New Waverly to come.
Yeah. So your favorite though is going to be the High Meadow Ranch.
Yeah.
Where you grew up.
I think just to kind of expand on that real quick, each one of our communities, something I love about them is they kind of create a personality. Like High Meadow Ranch is very different than High Meadow Estates. The land is very similar, but and it's not that they're good people or bad people in different places. They're all good, but it's just a different, unique personality of the neighborhood.
Feel.
And so High Meadow Ranch, kind of from that perspective, is my favorite, and I also am biased because I live there. But Cedars, from a land and the opportunity to kind of really steward the land and honor what was here and the history here, is, I don't know if I doubt I would ever have a chance to develop land like this again.
So just so you guys know, we're filming in the Cedars right now.
That's right.
And the Cedars is located out here in Plantersville, Texas. And it's a gorgeous, gorgeous community where they sell acreage lots, acreage Homesites. And they have these gorgeous cedar trees out there that are over 100 years old.
The oak trees are the ones that are almost 200 years old.
That's insane.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. They try and one thing about High Meadow is they try and preserve as much of the trees as they can. It just gives the community such a different feel. So we're surrounded right now by a lot of beautiful nature.
I do love that you have honored every area that you have developed. And I think that that's really the best way to put it. So the way that you honored the cedars and maintained the trees. For those of our out-of-state listeners, you really should go on to their website, High Meadow Development, the Cedars, and you should see they have this beautiful trail that you can walk under these 200-year-old trees. We also have some Instagram videos for our listeners if you'd like to see them. But they have honored this space. And why don't you talk to us a little bit about the history of the Cedars, and then we'll jump over to a couple other neighborhoods.
Yeah. So most communities, you're going to have 4 to 5 acres of and traditionally our communities, 4 to 5 acres of amenities that we give up essentially to provide for the community. Cedars has 9 acres. So we've have
doubled
a very large space, and that's because we couldn't give up any of those trees.
No.
Even to a single lot to go, well, this lot's going to have those on it and the others aren't. And it's also I think going to the stewardship of it, our customers are amazing and they do a great job of taking care of the land, but that's a really big burden to ask somebody to take care of a 200-year-old oak tree. It's very expensive. So by making it part of the community, we can do a better job of respecting it, I think, and really maintaining the, hopefully they last a long time, right?
Yeah. And we'll put down in the show notes the link for this community, because it is something, even if you're not looking to move to Plantersville, it is something to see. It's definitely one of the most gorgeous areas I have ever personally been in.
Yeah, just Google 105 and 1774, and you can see the, Google Earth and check it out.
Yeah, that's great.
So history of the Cedars. I don't know all dates and everything really perfectly, and we're still kind of working on some of the plaques and things like that we'll share. But we do have some of the old documentation from the land. But my understanding is that the original land was a part of a land grant to Sir Isaac Baker from his service in the War of Independence from Mexico for Texas.
Wow.
So Sam Houston.
I didn't know this.
Yeah,
That's
Sam
cool.
Houston awarded Sir Isaac Baker like 3,500 acres or 3,600 acres, something like that. And then we have actually his will that talks about where everything went and to his kids and all that kind of stuff. But the 1,100 acres that makes up the Cedars today changed hands a few different times, but it was bought by the Butler family, I think, in the 80s, and they're our partners in the deal. So, but the name the Cedars comes from the original people that worked the land, planted the cedar trees in a horseshoe around the house. And that's where the superstition that they would ward off evil spirits. And that's where the cedar name comes from.
I love it even more now, guys.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. So that is so fun.
So the home, sorry, I guess I'll touch on that real quick. The home was built in the 1840s. We have an original homestead up here that we're still not sure what we're going to do with yet.
I have seen it.
It's amazing.
It is.
Pretty cool.
It is a pretty cool property.
Pretty cool thing to see.
What makes High Meadow Development different than other developers? And for our listeners, let me just give them a little bit of, to be a land developer is no easy task. And when you typically think of land development, you think of large communities such as Johnson Developments or Caldwell Developments. But we are sitting next to one of the most successful independent developers of his time. And so I want to know what makes it different for you versus, such as other developers that I just mentioned.
Well, first of all, you're very kind. And I don't know if I describe myself that same way, but it's a huge honor to be in the position I'm in and be able to carry on my family's legacy. And I don't take that lightly, but we are very different in a lot of ways. What makes us different? I would say the value we try to bring is not just monetary. We kind of talked about this a little bit, and I don't mean to harp on the money thing the whole time. The point is that we're offering a value of growth for your family, growth for your community, an opportunity to be known, by people that you live in the same area and space with. I think that obviously you can have that anywhere, but neighborhoods today are not necessarily run that way. So because we have the way our deed restrictions and our boards are set up, you're working with your friends and neighbors to make sure the community center and the entrance is all looking beautiful and maintained over a long period of time. The other developers are going to have a mud district that kind of runs all that. We don't have muds. So it really falls on the back of individuals and volunteers in the community, which I think makes it great because you have this ownership factor of really going, hey, we need a steward. That we're passing that stewardship off to them. And kind of having that, I think, not to harp on the land piece too much, but it's when we buy a piece of land to develop, like I used to laugh in high school, kids would be like, oh, you own High Meadow Ranch. It's like, first of all, I'm 16 and I don't own anything. Literally nothing in this world is to my name.
Yeah.
And then it's like, no, we don't own anything. Your parents live in there. They own the neighborhood, not us. And so the idea is, hey, we're stewarding it to the next person that's going to actually own it for a long time and maintain it, grow their family there. And so I think what makes us different is that community part of it. We talked about the personalities of the communities a little bit. They all have that really unique feel. And I say it's not necessarily us. It's just that we've created an area where community and family and everything can come together.
I was just going to say that. I was very much what you just summed it up was you've given people the environment to be able to cultivate true community within the bounds of the subdivision versus, Chase and I can sell a home in Grand Central Park, for example, and the community feel is not as tight knit or there's no real foundation of.
It's such an interesting difference.
It really is.
I mean, there's with the zero lot line developments, and they're closer together, but then they don't even know each other. And it's just a different feel in those communities. And there's pros and cons to both, obviously.
Sure, there's a need for it all.
Right, for sure. But it's a total different feel in an Acreage community.
And every one of the communities that I've stepped in that High Meadow Development has had their hands in has had a feel in your chest the moment you drive into it. And there is truly an energy behind what you are creating for these people. So congratulations.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
It's fun.
Definitely. Let me touch on timeline a little bit. So when a buyer comes in and they're purchasing a home site, about how long does it take to close on that land?
Great question. It can very much depend upon how they're purchasing the property.
Okay.
If you're a cash buyer, we can usually get you closed pretty quick.
You're like, you can have it tomorrow.
Yeah.
Not really. They still got to do title work. But
we had a guy try to do that. He's like, I'll just write you a check now. It's like, well, no, it doesn't work like that.
You didn't just come with a big suitcase of cash?
Yeah, we got to go through the title company and make sure it's legal and you can actually own it on paper and the county knows and all that stuff.
Yeah, you're like, this is
you
the
got to
mafia.
pay taxes. Sorry.
This is the mafia. Okay.
When we're talking to our sales team, they have 45 days. So when we sign a contract, 45 days is the max we allow. There's certain situations where we'll make adjustments, but we don't allow things like one-time closes. We don't need to get into that here, but that just it makes our lives simpler, and it doesn't really work with our model. That works well in other situations, but not for what we do. So 45 days is really
45 days. Is there a restriction on how quickly they need to build on their lot?
No, that's one thing I think. So there's a few things that I would say we've kind of held on to that are not necessarily. They're almost even taboos in the market today. And I don't know if they are as effective as they used to be. A lot of that came from Jack just going, I need to sell in whatever situation I can sell in. And if you're saying you're going to buy a lot, but you're not going to build on it for 10 years, that's totally fine. I just need you to buy the lot. We're not necessarily in that situation now. We are, and of course it's just a good market. So it could be different in a couple of years, but we've just held true to that initial objective of, hey, we're not trying to create anything that I'm not answering this really well. We want you to have the freedom.
Right. You're not trying to govern people.
Yep.
That's the point. They're
And we
buying
want
their
you
own
to-
land. They should be
for
able to do
sure.
what they want with it, right?
We want you to go, hey, I decided not to build there. Okay, great. And I sold it for a really nice return. Oh, good for you. I'm so
Perfect,
happy
right.
that happened. Yeah.
Life changes. It
Yeah.
happens.
So there's usually a good opportunity for investment growth as well, even if you don't buy or build on a lot.
Yeah, and to our listeners, to give you guys a little bit of context here. So High Meadow Development, they develop the land and then sell the lots individually to homeowners. The homeowner is then allowed to choose their own builder, choose their own timeline, has a lot of autonomy when it comes to once they own the land themselves. So you're going to experience that different than if you were to just buy a home in a typical subdivision. And that's the freedom that you get when you're working with this developer. Now, I want to kind of segue though, because there's some new exciting stuff on the horizon for High Meadow Development.
Yes.
Can you tell us a little bit about your newest community, where it is, and what our listeners need to know?
Absolutely. So thank you, Mandy. We're talking about the Manors up in New Waverly.
We are talking about the Manors.
Manors.
Yep. Well, I guess you can say it, but Mandy's our exclusive broker for the Manors.
We are. So we are very excited. Inspired Realty & Co. has partnered with High Meadow Development, and we are the exclusive brokerage selling the land in the Manors, which is in New Waverly, Texas. And we're just thrilled. Chase is one of our sales agents.
Yes.
We have 10 sales agents in there. We get to man the office, and we get to bring all of the things that we love about High Meadow Development to personally our clients now directly.
For sure. We're very excited. We started out there about a month and a half ago. From my own experience, it's been a lot of fun. I've spent a lot of time in the community of New Waverly, and the business owners are just so gracious and so welcoming. It has this really, really special small town feel to it. And the local business owners are really excited to get some more people over there. So it's pretty cool.
You initially asked kind of what about the project, and I changed the direction. But it's a 290 acre community in north of the Woodlands. It's our bread and butter, acre plus, direct to consumer. So like we pointed out, your team's selling directly to the customer, and then the customer goes and finds their custom builder. We have some great builders out there already. We have Grace Point, we have Manual, and we have Kindle Homes, and first model home opens hopefully next month. Grace Point's model is really close.
I've seen it.
Yeah.
It's really pretty.
Oh, it's stunning.
really pretty.
Yeah, the finished product of this community is going to be amazing. Some of the things that I really like about it, which is not common in New Waverly for our listeners who are shopping, these are items that you're going to really want to nail down and understand as you look at communities. Again, it is Acreage plus Homesites. Some are waterfront. The minimum square footage is 2,500 to build, where you may find, that larger in other areas. So this gives you a lot of flexibility in choosing your builder. I absolutely love that they have 70-foot lots. So that means to our listeners that 70 feet is your front elevation from side to side, giving you the greatest elevation possible.
70-foot home, elevations. The lots are 120 to 200 foot wide. Yeah.
Thank you.
Or more.
We have underground utilities and natural gas in the subdivision, and the lowest tax rate that I think I've ever seen, 1.6.
That's another
crazy.
thing that really helps us or makes us stand out. If you look at our tax rates, because we're outside of a mud and the way, it's not our tax rates, but the county tax rates and the way we develop, your carry cost of your home is much, much lower than, say, a mud district or other communities. You don't have maybe all the amenities of HEB out your front door, but the cost of living is lower.
Yeah, I would say luckily for us, the Manors is actually in an area that we have not only, the National Forest, which is 3 miles away. We're close to Willis, which has a brand new HEB, a brand new shopping center. Everything that you need is at your fingertips within 8 miles of the Manors. We have our college, which is 15 miles away, Sam Houston College. So those who are looking to move and have a college-age student, they don't have to leave home. Mamas, you can enjoy that. And then, of course, the Woodlands. We want to really emphasize to greater Houston and northern Houston and the Woodlands that this is your escape. This is your place to come, get that second home, or move out of those tight areas and get a little bit of elbow room and explore, Lake Livingston, Lake Conroe, all within just a few miles. I think New Waverly is going to be the biggest housing boom within the next 5 to 6 years.
It'll be Tomball one day.
It will be the Tomball. Mm-hmm.
They're going to do exactly the same thing, develop the area. And the home sites are priced appropriately for the time now. And if you get in now, you'll get a great value there. But if you sit on it, land prices go up over time. And once more gets developed out there, just like the Willis, the HEB and the Ross and all those things got built there, everyone's pushing out of the city. So it's a great time to explore that if home ownership of acreage is important to you.
It's a joke everyone's heard, and I definitely didn't come up with it, but the, buy land or not make it anymore.
Mm-hmm. I say that all the time.
Right.
It's never been more true in the last, really since COVID, the land prices have gone up in a huge way. It's harder to get it, harder to develop, all that. So having the opportunity to buy an acre or two right now in a developing area, not just because that's what I sell, but it's a really great opportunity now, before you get to the next ring of, distance out. Right. So,
well, I think y'all have done a really great job with the Manors and the pricing. The pricing is so fair per acre, and then just what you're able to get, and the community itself, comparing it, just so for our out-of-state listeners, comparing the Manors in New Waverly to some of the other subdivisions that you can purchase that are quote unquote similar, they're not similar. The way that High Meadow developed the Manors is in an asymmetrical form, versus we have some grid pattern style neighborhoods, and those feel very lot block community.
Right.
The free rolling of the asymmetrical is where you get that I want to just call it the vibe,
right,
of the land. And like I said, you've really honored every community that you've gone into, but you truly honored the land and the Manors as well.
Yeah. I think it's really fun. We didn't get to this one, but there was one of the questions that I read was about what's your favorite part of the process, and I like to say clearing, even though we love to save the trees and all that, and I'm not a tree hugger, but save the trees in the sense that we want to preserve as much value in the nature in the raw land that we can. But in the Manors, there is one oak tree that's, I don't know, we didn't get it dated, but it's equivalent to the size of the ones we have here in the Cedars, and we moved the road to go around it.
I love that.
Now in that situation, we knew where it was, so we were able to do that. Sometimes we don't know, but even in those cases, if we come across a tree, we do everything we can to go around if there's some significance to it. So yeah, the Manors is a beautiful piece of land. Another thing that is not necessarily something we require that we do, but we've been able to do this a few times. But the Manors has a little bit of an honor to the previous landowner. So in the Cedars, similar in the Cedars, we named it because of the history. The Manors was sold by a gentleman by the last name Manors.
Oh, nice.
Now his spells it different, and he'd probably be mad at me for even saying that. He's a good guy in Houston market, and he's kind of had a lot of ranches around. But when we heard his name, we said, well, that's easy. We'll just call it the Manors. And of course, we spell it like a manor versus his name. But yeah, just another way that it's fun to kind of honor the.
Well, I love to know the history of it all. It makes it more personal when you're purchasing, and it gives a little bit more purpose. Yeah. People have a little bit more buy-in at that point of, well, there's history in this community, and I get to be a part of the future history of it.
Definitely.
So,
well, I think we should go ahead and wrap things up. I know he's a busy man. We got to let him get back to his schedule. But thanks so much for coming on today. Yeah. It was really fun to dive in. I know a lot of times Mandy and I do stuff that are not real estate related. So it was fun to do a new episode that's very real estate involved. So thanks so much for coming.
Absolutely. It's a privilege to be here and enjoy hanging out with y'all.
Yeah, David, thank you so much. And we look forward to letting our listeners know where to find you in the show notes.
Yes.
You will be able to find David's website, all of their communities. You can go onto our Instagram page as well and see the Cedars and the Manors and keep up. And then if you're looking to move to Houston or surrounding, please let us know.
Absolutely. Well, we'll close it out and hope everyone's doing well out there. Thank you.